Let's go over the craziest parts. We talked about the notes with Dr. Crush's name and hearts all over them. Yeah, that was alarming. The nursery, that was alarming. There was also some other notes that I'll go over in length. But one thing is Lucy still maintains this narrative to this day that she is innocent and that she was a scapegoat for the hospital. So just keep that in the back of your mind while I tell you everything that they found in her home. Medical documents. When authorities searched her home, they found multiple sheets of medical records for more than one baby that passed. This is super illegal. Nobody is allowed to take home patient records. Nobody is allowed to take home strictly imagine all the violations. Just because you're my nurse, you can have all my medical documents hidden under your bed, because that's where it was hidden. It was hidden under Lucy's bed. Yeah, I don't think so. I would be very uncomfortable if my doctor had my medical records under their bed, or my nurse. Even if the patient is just a baby, even if the patient has passed, you can't just take home these records. Authorities believe that these were her trophies. You know how serial killers bring something from the victim or the crime scene, something to remember each kill by? They think that this was Lucy Letby's trophy stash. They said it was hidden under her bed. It was almost like a sacred place because even her bank documents weren't even under her bed. Things that most people would typically prioritize more than random scraps of papers from work. Because that's how she tries to claim. She's like, oh, I must have accidentally had them in my pocket and then brought them home and then never got rid of them. But she actually moved houses in late 2015. So that means she also brought them to her new house and then forgot to throw them away. When she was confronted with that, she just said, oh, I just like to collect paper. I'm kind of a hoarder. It's not because I'm looking up the families on Facebook. Because that's what she was doing.
Wow. Oh.
I don't know how she was able to try and even look the investigators in the face and argue this, but Lucy Letby looked up a lot of the parents of the baby's victims on Facebook, and this is the disturbing part, okay? This is why I keep thinking of grief vampire while I'm researching this case. I just keep thinking of this image of someone who gets off on people's grief. Someone just standing at a funeral, soaking in all this energy. She would do this around baby death anniversaries for these victims, because parents will usually post it's been 1 year without you, it's been 2 years. It's a moment of grief and reflection and love and all these complicated emotions, and during the holidays, which is another moment for families to reflect and talk about these types of things. She would look up the parents every so often on Facebook. And when I say every so often, that sounds like once or twice a year. In 1 year, it was 2,300 something times that she looked up parents of the victims.
How many times?
2,300 something times.
1 year?
In 1 year.
There's 365 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's 4 times a day.
She claims that she just remembers these patients and wanted to see how they're doing just because she's a caring nurse, but I don't know, 3,080 times in a single year is just unhinged behavior in my very personal, non-professional, very free advice and opinion. That is unhinged behavior. Yeah. That's not even the most damning thing found in her house. The notes. Lucy was an avid note taker. She kept a diary, a planner, and she wrote a lot of sticky notes, and she never threw away any of it. Another slightly unsettling detail, at least for me, was that her diary was just super, super meticulously organized, color-coded with different colored asterisks. She had some sort of meaning behind every color. Every different code was something. Authorities believe that the highlighted dates in her diary were significant events that were related to her crimes. The contents of her diary have not been released to the public, but her little notebook scraps, her journaling scraps, sticky notes, they were released, a few of them. Another unsettling thing, they're not that easy to read, not in the sense that her handwriting was messy, but okay, so sometimes she writes left to right while she's writing, but then she'll go in and fill over the leftover spaces in between the words she's already written. Or on top, you know how there's lines? She'll write in between the lines a whole nother thought. Sometimes she writes words on top of words.